Coming up on Sports Weekly, 20-1 meets 1-20. A field day for Houston? Can the Sonics keep knocking out their opposition? The LA stories. The O's have it in Westwood, while it's Dave's world against the Kings. In the NFL, turnovers, and more turnovers, while our Sunday conversation is ecstatic to see a coaching turnover in Denver.
They want to take advantage of my skill. They want to take advantage and using me to the best of the ability of the Denver Broncos to make us world champions.
We go to the streets of Chicago, where basketball helps unite troubled neighborhoods.
What's outside is outside. When you come in here, hey, it's one big family.
We have all the forest stories, including some scoring squirrels and some not-so-merry men. Sports Weekly will go to any length to please you next.
Good morning, I'm Dick Schaap, and welcome to Sunday Sports Day, December 19th, 1993. 2 hours of news, views, reviews, and previews, highlights and sidelights, cheers and jeers. It was the worst mismatch in NBA history, the worst mismatch anywhere since Germany scheduled Luxembourg more than half a century ago. It was the Dallas Mavericks playing the Rockets in Houston last night. At least Luxembourg got to play on its own court. Robin Roberts is with us, as usual, to lead us to our opening hour Sports Weekly. And Robin, how big an upset would it have been if Dallas had beaten Houston?
Oh, I think it would have been measured on the Richter scale. I can't help but think of the old TV series Dallas when Pam Ewing, woke up from her dream. I have to think that the Mavs would like to wake up from their nightmare season, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
Well, there may be another nightmare for Dallas when the Cowboys could meet Houston in the Super Bowl in January.
That could happen, Dick. All right, we'll check with you throughout the morning. But why don't we begin the morning with the Mavs showdown with the Rockets? As Dick mentioned, it was the worst mismatch in NBA history. Both entered last night's game having played 21 times this season. The Rockets had only lost once. The Mavs had only won one time. Rudy T. watching his Rockets go to work on the Mavs early. Doug Smith challenges Hakeem Olajuwon, and he says, get it out of here. Olajuwon also showing the passing touch to kick out to Matt Bullard. 56-44 Houston at the half. Jamal Mashburn to the rescue. First from long distance. Then Mashburn leaves Vernon Maxwell in the dust for an easy two. Mavs down just 8 in the third. They would get no closer. Bullard again, the slam. Houston wins it by a final of 104-93. Despite Jamal Mashburn and Jimmy Jackson combining for 57, the Mavs have lost 18 in a row and are 1-21. The Hawks remain the only blemish on the Rockets' record. They've won 6 straight since that loss December 3rd. The only loss for the Rockets this season, of course. They're closing in on the Knicks' best one-loss start in league history. They're just 3 victories away. The Rockets play San Antonio next, then Denver. They could break the record Christmas Day at Phoenix. A late one between the Warriors and the Sonics. Sean Kemp out again. Early on, it's Gary Payton leading the way. Hits 2 of his 14 in the first half. Payton played some defense, too. He steals it from Chris Mullin for the easy 2. But the Warriors keep it close. Chris Webber jams home the alley-oop. Sonics led by 5 at the half. Second half, Warriors turn up the defense. Detlef Schrempf with the steal. Ahead to Ricky Pierce. He's fouled, but it goes in. He led all scorers with 26. Don Nelson trying to keep the Warriors in the game, but the Sonics run away. Gary Payton dishing to Gill. Puts in his own rebound, lays it home. Sonics win by a final of 126-111. 7 Sonics in double figures. Ricky Pierce with 26. Gary Payton added 23. The Sonics' 9th win in 10 games. They're now 19-2 overall. Now for the Clippers and the Suns, both coming off losses Friday night. Oh, look at that. Dan Marley. Yeah, so easy. Terry DeHare says, I can top that. Clippers led by 7 at the break, but in the 4th, the Suns took over. Danny Manning rejected by Oliver Miller. Suns keep it rolling. KJ, the bouncer to Charles Barkley. The Suns cruise by a final of 116-109. Dan Marley with 28 to lead the Suns with 4 Suns with 20 or more points. The Suns shot 56% from the field and attempted 47 free throws, making 32 of those 47 from the line. Late action on the ice as well last night. The LA Kings returned to Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto for the first time since clinching their dramatic 7-game Campbell Conference Championship. That, of course, taking place last May. Gretzky and the Kings trying to stop their losing ways now, but they couldn't stop Dave Andrewchuk. He flips it past Rudy. Leafs up 2-1. Some great hits in this game. Warren Reichel says hello to Greg Smythe. Felix Potvin getting some help in goal as Andrewchuk is Johnny on the spot. The beautiful stick save. Juan Guzman, take a bow. Leafs go on to win 4-1. Potvin stopped 33 shots as the Leafs extend the Kings' road losing streak to 10 games. Andrewchuk has 7 goals in the last 5 games for the Leafs. To college hoops, number 9 UCLA hosted the 25th ranked LSU Tigers last night at Pauley Pavilion. Either the Bruins or the Tigers would lose for the first time this college basketball season. Jim Herrick hoping it wouldn't be the 9th ranked Bruins. Ed O'Bannon, the lefty hook, he had 18. UCLA led 43-27 after the half, so Dale Brown just a little bit concerned. Tyus Edney, great game. Twice behind his back. He had 11 assists. This one to Sean Tarver. UCLA romps 100-80 is the final. The Bruins remain undefeated despite shooting only 49% for the game, but the Tigers hit only 24% of their shots from the floor in the first half, 32 for the game. Georgia Tech and Vandy went at it last night. The Georgia Dome, Drew Barry to Matrice Moore. The shot, and James Forrest follows with a one-handed jam. Tech trailed by 3 at the half, but second half, all Vandy. Billy McCaffrey, the jumper. He had 24, but with under 13 seconds left, Drew Barry to Fred Vinson, who buries the 3. We go to OT. And Tech outscored Vandy 14-5. That's James Forrest with a lay-in. He finished with 25. Georgia Tech wins 86. Wow, to 77. James Forrest finished with 25. Travis Best had 22. As the Yellow Jackets improved to 6-1, Vandy falls to 4-2. We certainly are glad you decided to join us again this Sunday morning. John Elway is allowed to sleep in this morning. The Broncos have the day off after beating the Bears on Saturday. Later, we'll hear from the Broncos' fearless leader, John Elway, in our Sunday conversation. Also later, home on the range with the Rangers' Jose Canseco. We'll see how far along he is in his rehab from shoulder surgery. Another team from Texas looked just fine on Saturday as Michael Irvin, the Cowboys, confirmed their reservations for the upcoming playoffs.
Weekly is brought to you by Braun Flex Control, the first electric shaver with a pivoting head that adjusts to every contour of your face. By Interstate Batteries, we check them before you buy them for fresh power guaranteed. And by Savan, the original 100% cotton, no wrinkle pants.
For the second week in a row, a pair of Saturday games in the NFL, and all 4 teams had realistic playoff aspirations. We began with the Broncos and the Bears, both a game out in their respective divisions. Not very good weather. And Peter Tom Willis played like the weather. Here he drops back, but a sack by Simon Fletcher, one of 4 sacks in a day for the Broncos. Willis had time to throw. He found it pretty tough. Then Shane Granette in the second quarter. Broncos down 3-0. He bats another ball and comes up with the interception. One of 3 INTs for Peter Tom Willis. The Broncos got a field goal out of it. 3-all. Still in the second. Mike Kroll gets around in, strips the ball from Willis, and the Broncos recover. That led to a Robert Del Pino touchdown. The Broncos in the lead 10-3. Wade Phillips happy with his D. Bears driving. Willis is picked off by Dennis Smith in the end zone. And the Bear fans yearn for the Ditka days. 13-3 is the final. The 4th win in 5 games for the Broncos as they improve their playoff chances. Just the opposite for the Bears. After winning 4 straight, the Bears have now dropped 2 in a row to fall back to 500. Don't forget our Sunday conversation with John Elway later in the morning here on Sunday Sports Day. The Cowboys could clinch a playoff berth with the victory over the Jets. Jets offense not clicking yesterday. Rob Moore stripped by Kevin Smith. 9 turnovers yesterday, 4 of them by the Jets, and even the squirrel could get in the end zone. But the Cowboys got there too. Just before the end of the first half, Troy Aikman finds who else? Michael Irvin from 42 yards out. 7-0 boys. Bruce Coslett feeling the cold inside the Meadowlands. Cowboys built a 14-0 lead. Another Irvin touchdown in the 3rd quarter. Then Kevin Smith intercepts Boomer, takes it 32 yards, 21-0 Cowboys. And Smith finds a few good men in New Jersey. Jets finally do get in the end zone in the fourth. Brad Baxter rustles his way in from a yard out. The Jets' first touchdown in 17 quarters. Ronnie Lott wishes playoff-bound Dallas and Aikman good luck. 28-7 is the final. Despite the Emmitt Smith holdout and starting 0-2, the Cowboys are in the playoffs. They trail the Giants, who clinched a playoff spot last week by 1/2 game in the NFC East. Elsewhere on Saturday, the Detroit Red Wings hope to win at Montreal for the first time since February of '88. While on the hardwood, the Spurs and the Bulls went at it, and I do mean they went at it. Watch Stacey King. Dennis Rodman exchange words. Then Rodman with a little headbutt. King doesn't like that. Rodman said, "What did I do?" He gets ejected along with King and takes it out on the nearby computer. Meanwhile, the Spurs were getting beat inside. Horace Grant finds himself all alone. Then no one blocks out Tony Kukoc. Does a follow jam. Bulls win by a final of 102-90. T-Wolves and the Blazers. Nice behind-the-back pass from Rod Strickland to Cliff Robinson. How about more from Cliff Robinson? From Terry Porter, 2 of his 25. Blazers win by a final of 105-95. On the ice, Devils in the Nordique. Scott Stevens shot from the point. Saved by Jocelyn Thibault, but he can't get up in time to stop Claude Lemieux on the wraparound. 3-2 Devils in the second. 25 seconds later, horrible clearing pass attempt by, watch this, Mike McKee. Ouch. Picked up by Valeri Zelepukin. Devils win 6-2. Red Wings and the Canadiens. Tough night for Wings goalie Chris Osgood. Paul DiPietro sets up Donald Brashear for the breakaway goal, his second of his NHL career. His replacement, Tim Cheveldae, no better. Great passing. Oleg Petrov to Matthew Schneider. Back to Petrov for the easy goal. His first career hat trick. Habs win big, 8-1. One moment, Bobby Hurley is driving home after a Kings game. The next, he's in a hospital fighting for his life. Later in the morning, we'll update Hurley's condition as he battles back from a devastating car accident last Sunday. When we come back, you'll see what the future holds for former heavyweight champ Riddick Bowe. The Week in Review. Top 25 games in college hoops on Saturday. Undefeated Arizona went looking for a little revenge against Santa Clara, the team that knocked the Cats out in the first round of the NCAA tournament. We begin, though, with a look at the #1 team in the land, Arkansas, and they certainly looked #1 against Jackson State. Corliss Williams gets it to Corey Beck. A couple little fakes, the hoop and the foul. Second half, Hogs on a roll. Alex Dillard gets it on the break, gets it over to Darnell Robinson for the slam. More Razorbacks. Corey Beck goes in on the break for the layup and the foul. Arkansas wins with ease, 96-80. It was the Donald Williams show. He hits from 3, drives to the hoop, up the middle against Ohio State. Williams scored 12 straight points, finished with 26. North Carolina with a victory, 81-68. Dog day afternoon for Georgia in the Georgia Dome. Jacques Vaughn of Kansas takes it right up the middle. Off glass, Kansas by 7 at the half. In the second half, B.J. Williams gets up for the block, then the save to Steve Woodbury. Gets it to Vaughn for the layup. Jayhawks win by 10, 89-79. Lute Olson's team looking for revenge against Santa Clara. This one was all Cats. Damon Stoudemire nails a 3, one of 7 Wildcat threes in the first half. Second half, Khalid Reeves penetrates, lobs it up for Willie Blair, who was there for the layup. Then Dylan Rigdon gets it to Blair. Wildcats romp this time, 89-63 to remain undefeated. The Week in Sports took on the tone of It's a Wonderful Life. You know the story. Man down on his luck finds out what's really important in life and makes a comeback in time to save his town. Well, we don't have Jimmy Stewart, but Linda Cohn has this week's comeback stories.
A big comeback is on Riddick Bowe's mind. Bowe will fight South African Francois Botha February 5th in his first fight since he lost his title to Evander Holyfield in November. Bowe, who weighed 246 pounds against Holyfield, will trim down a bit to 240 as he focuses on making another run at the title.
I think you all will see a new improved Riddick Bowe. I'm much more determined. I think this minor setback has inspired a new person, and I'm very determined as I was before I became champion.
Roberto Duran just keeps on coming back for more. Tuesday, Duran was back in the ring for his 100th fight. The 42-year-old Duran celebrated his golden anniversary by hammering Tony Menifee, a man half his age. Duran knocked Menifee down in the 8th round. Menifee was shaky, but did manage to get up. Once again, Duran was saying no mas, but this time it was for Menifee. Referee Elmo Adolph finally agreed with Duran, stopping the fight and moving Duran's career mark to 91-9. Peter Korda and Michael Stiek kept coming back for more in a 5-setter on Sunday. The 3-hour, 48-minute overtime match showcased plenty of emotion, anger, laughter, astonishment, and disgust. It was almost too tense to watch, but with all eyes clearly focused, Korda took advantage of every inch of the court to take Stiek and pull out an 11-9 fifth-set win. The Grand Slam Cup title that he worked to exhaustion to get netted Korda a whopping prize of $1,625,000. Georgia's junior quarterback Eric Zier isn't taking the money. Instead, he's coming back to Georgia. Zier, who holds 61 Georgia school passing records, wasn't convinced he'd be a first or even second-round NFL draft pick, so Zier will use his senior season to build his stock. Our last image of Larry Smith was a sad one. But Smith is on the comeback trail after being forced out by USC in January. Wednesday, Smith became the head coach at the University of Missouri. Smith was 44, 25, and 3 in 6 seasons at USC, but was victorious in only 1 of 5 bowl appearances, the 1990 Rose Bowl. He takes over a Missouri program which was just 15, 38, and 1 over the last 5 years. The date for John Daly's comeback may now be known. According to Golf World magazine, Daly's indefinite suspension for walking off the course in November will end at the Freeport McMoran Classic in late March. While waiting to return, Daly plans no form of competitive golf, but he does plan to work on playing better guitar. Finally, since his birth 16 years ago, Dave Raymond, the Philly fanatic, has thrilled Philly fans. But Tuesday, Raymond decided to call it quits. Someone else will come back as the fanatic, but it won't be Raymond who kisses off a fantastic career.
Still to come, Jose Canseco has proven he knows how to use his head. And later, we'll see if he is remaining focused in his rehab from shoulder surgery. Also ahead, we'll see how teamwork on the court is helping to bridge divided neighborhoods in Chicago, where gang violence is of great concern.
One was surprised last week when Don Shula was named Sportsman of the Year. The man's a coaching legend. In fact, back in the old days, his achievements might have inspired fans to cast his likeness in bronze for the center of town, or carve his face on the side of a mountain, maybe next to some other legendary coaches, such as Vince Lombardi, George Halas. Hey, wait a minute, is that the real Knute Rockne or that guy from the movie? But these days, they honor you by putting your face on the cover of a magazine, and I don't mean the swimsuit issue. Which got me thinking, when they get ready to honor Bobby Knight, who are they going to put him on the magazine cover with? Alfred E. Newman?
It is time for Face Off, our weekly war of words, wit, and wisdom. And at this late stage of the NFL season, only 2 teams have already won 10 games. The New York Giants, led by a quarterback who acts younger than his years, and the Dallas Cowboys, led by a running back who acts wiser than his. Emmitt Smith of the Dallas Cowboys, of course, and Phil Simms of the Giants. Will one of them succeed Steve Young as the most valuable player in the National Conference? Which one? That's the subject of our face-off today between Bob Ryan, who acts wiser than his years, and Mike Lupica, who looks younger than his. Ryan kicks off.
Mike, first of all, mea culpa, mea culpa, mea maxima culpa. I sat here 2 months ago and argued that the Cowboys shouldn't even sign Emmitt Smith. What a stupid I was. He's been the biggest difference on any team in the league this year. He's on his way to another rushing title. I have seen the light, Michael. He is the man. He should be the MVP in the conference.
Oh, now we're supposed to believe you. I don't think so. Hey, listen, nobody's going to tell you that Phil Simms is still one of the top players in the league, okay? Young, Aikman, Smith, Irvin, Jerry Rice, okay? All superior talents. But but the Giants, against all odds, have the best record in football today, and they have no chance to be 10-3 without the quarterback. Statistically, it's not nearly his best years. I'm just telling you, if the season ends now, there's nobody more valuable.
Believe me, I have not come to trash Phil Simms. I am here only to praise Emmitt Smith. You mentioned the Giants have the best record. Think the Cowboys might have a couple of more W's under their belt?
Think they might have a couple more better players?
Emmitt Smith had not sat out the first 2 games? No. Emmitt Smith sets things up for Troy Aikman. There's a chicken egg here, and we know which is which. Emmitt Smith's the guy who sets up him, not the other way around. It's Emmitt Smith.
Listen, I love Emmitt Smith. I wear my Reebok preseasons proudly. I'm just telling you that if you take Simms away from the Giants this season, they have won 3 games instead of 10 games, Bobby. And have you seen them play? This is not exactly the offense of the 90s.
Doesn't Steve Young get a call from either of you?
No,
Steve Young.
We like Steve Young, too, but I'm
never will go to a Super Bowl.
Why don't you learn to be like Ryan and like everyone? Thank you very much, both of you. Bill Conlon will join Bob and Mike on the Sports Reporters coming up on the hour. A chance for them to talk about the tragedy and triumphs for the Houston Oilers this year. Robin?
Thank you, gentlemen. Shaquille O'Neal has been all business this NBA season. Sean Kemp knows that firsthand. We'll look back on what happened this week in pro hoops. That's coming up a bit later. Not a good week for the Steelers' Barry Foster. We'll tell you why in the NFL Week in Review next.
Let's say you work. Rheem has a new quality central heating system that's just right for your home. And it works like a dream.
You mean it works like a Rheem?
If it's reliable, trouble-free, and works like a dream,
it works like a Rheem.
Join us later today on NFL Game Day at noon Eastern Time. We'll look at the Dolphins' emotional linebacker Brian Cox. We'll check out all the emotions running rampant in the AFC Central duel between Houston and Pittsburgh. And those Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a decade of frustration. Will it end?
Tonight, the Philadelphia Eagles make their first ever regular season appearance at the Hoosier Dome. The Eagles and the Colts are Sunday night game at 8 p.m. Eastern, right after NFL primetime. The Fox network now has a prime NFL package. Fox outbids CBS for the rights to televise NFC games beginning next season. Meanwhile, CBS has now made an offer for the AFC package. ABC will keep Monday night games and gets the Pro Bowl back, so you'll understand if Chris Berman and TJ are a little down this morning. They so enjoyed spending February in Hawaii for the Pro Bowl, but ESPN and TNT will continue to split Sunday night football. It had seemed about that long since the Patriots had last won a football game. Victory number 2 came at the expense of the Cincinnati Bengals, who now have the inside track for the number 1 pick in next April's draft. Riding a 1-game winning streak, the Patriots aren't the only ones hot this Christmas. The Denver Broncos have gotten 2 gift wins in just 6 days. Mike Tirico tells us who was naughty and who was nice last week in the NFL.
So what are the hot items for Christmas this year? Well, the New York Giants, they're hot. They became the first team to qualify for the playoffs. Sunday, the Giants beating the Colts 20-6, combined with the Vikings' loss to the Cowboys, the Giants will make their first playoff appearance in 2 seasons. Someone who may not be hot this season or next season is Giant great Lawrence Taylor. Rumors now swirling that this will be the final season for LT. Some other hot teams making late playoff pushes, the Falcons and Broncos. Atlanta defeating the 49ers 27-24 Saturday, a 20-point rally in the 4th quarter. 2 key Dexter Carter mistakes on returns set up the final 2 Falcons scores, including the game-winning field goal with 30 seconds left from Norm Johnson. The hot man in this game, none other than Deion Sanders. He kept Jerry Rice under wraps and out of the end zone for the game. In the matchup between 2 of the great quarterbacks of the game, John Elway against Joe Montana, Denver eked out a 27-21 win. Montana and the Chiefs got off to a quick 14-3 lead, but a hot John Elway and Shannon Sharp hooked up not 1, not 2, but 3 times to rally the Broncos. The matchup between the 2 QBs, one that lived up to the hype.
He's one of the best ever at bringing teams back, but if you want to have a shootout with anybody, I'll take John Elway.
From quarterback legends to a coaching legend, certainly hot on this year's cover as Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year, Dolphin head coach Don Shula.
The fact that that you can show dignity and class in victory or defeat and be recognized as a sportsman is all the more important to me.
Some players not in the best of health this Christmas season. Steeler running back Barry Foster now out for the rest of the season with an ankle injury suffered on November 15th.
I just wish I would have had the opportunity to know in the beginning, and that way I could have made the correct decision as far as getting in surgery and not practicing.
Cowboys center Mark Stepnoski, he may miss the remainder of the season with a knee injury suffered in the third quarter of the Vikings-Cowboy game. And Eagle quarterback Randall Cunningham earlier in the week looked ready to return to the starting lineup, but a second examination, the doctors now recommend he sit out the rest of the year.
1993 continues to be a year of great tragedy in the sports world. We lost 2 athletes this week. Early Tuesday morning, Houston Oilers defensive lineman Jeff Alm took his own life. Alm was apparently distraught after his best friend died in a car accident. Alm, who was 25, was driving. And on Sunday, Ohio State defensive end Jason Gwynn was killed in a car accident. Gwynn died about a mile from Ohio Stadium after he sought medical treatment for teammate Marvin Stillwell, who had been shot outside a nightclub. Stillwell is recovering from his gunshot wound. Gwynn was 20 years old.
Question, if your cold pill's so good, how come your symptoms keep coming back?
In dealing this week in the major leagues, I don't know, maybe the holiday season has something to do with it. After all, everybody is in a spending mood, and the Home Shopping Network makes purchasing so convenient, and the Oakland A's know returns are always welcomed. Taking the home shopping theme literally, the Rickey Henderson model returned home to Oakland for the 3rd time. The price? Reportedly $8.6 million for 2 years. The all-time stolen base king returns after being traded to Toronto in August. Looking for something in a first baseman, the O's were, giving Rafael Palmeiro a 5-year, $30.35 million deal, including the largest signing bonus in history, $12 million. DH was high on the White Sox list. Their purchase, Julio Franco, signed to a 1-year deal. Franco's acquisition may provide a home shopping bonus, a possible closeout sale on Bo Jackson, who hit just .232 playing primarily at DH for the Sox last season. No longer available in a shortstop model, Ozzie Guillen. Always great on defense, the Sox will pay $12.5 million for 3 years to keep him in stock in Chicago, following a career year with a bat as well. Pitching, always in vogue. So Detroit re-signed David Wells, rewarding the lefty for an 11-9 season with a 3-year, $7.5 million contract. $7.5 million here, $30 million there. It all adds up to $166.1 million for 36 signed free agents. That's a bargain when you consider 3 lottery picks in the NBA. Chris Webber, Sean Bradley, Anthony Hardaway cost a collective $166.6 million. And the Baltimore Orioles franchise was sold this year for $172 million. Even the $6 million man can be had many times over. Texas Rangers are still hoping Jose Canseco turns out to be a bargain. A shoulder injury ended his season prematurely. Now the million-dollar question is, will Jose be able to return to his 40-40 form? The power to hit 40 home runs, the speed to steal 40 bases. Here now is Carolyn Burns.
Humiliation loomed heavy for Jose Canseco in 1993. His season was headed in the wrong direction early on. But during this pitching stunt on May 29th, Canseco suffered a season-ending elbow injury that could permanently limit his abilities.
I wasn't really worried about coming back and hitting. I was really extremely worried about coming back and throwing 100%. The way my arm feels right now, it's still very difficult to say if I will come back at 100%.
Canseco's injury is generally associated with pitchers, and the prescribed reconstruction surgery was first successful on Tommy John in 1974. It also saved Paul Molitor's career 9 years ago, although Molitor rarely plays in the field.
Reconstruction simply involves trying to develop a new ligament there, and we drill some bone tunnels into this bone here and into this bone, and we weave in a figure-of-8 fashion a tendon graft that will eventually become the new ligament. I think his prognosis is very good. I don't have any reason to believe at this time that he's not going to be able to return to both throwing and batting.
The key is Canseco's attitude.
He has a way of making you wonder if he's doing everything he needs to do to stay in shape, but every time we've had him checked, he's come through with flying colors.
You know, Jose, there are those out there that say maybe one of the reasons the A's traded you was because they questioned your work ethic. Do you think that was fair?
No matter what I accomplish in baseball, no one will be happy with it. They will always say, if Jose Canseco would have worked harder, he could have done better.
The thing that will determine whether or not he ever becomes the player he was in the 80s again is whether or not he wants to, sets his mind to it. No one can make him do it if he's not willing to pay the price and has the pride to come back and do that. That's up to Jose.
Create some more arm speed from your glove side. Create it. There it is. Outstanding. All right. His work ethics have been outstanding. He's been great. He's very attentive. I'm very surprised the way he pays attention, the way he goes about his work.
Canseco works out 4 days a week. His routine includes sessions with University of Miami baseball coach Laser Colazzo, lifting weights, running, throwing, and hitting. He also works with Miami sprint coach Amy Deem to regain his speed, which helped him become the first player to have 40 homers and 40 stolen bases in one season.
Jose, with all the hard work that you're doing, what is your goal for 1994?
I know in 1988, I said I was going to accomplish the 40-40, and I did. I'm going to do it again this year. In 1994, I will accomplish the 40-40 again.
To do that, he'll have to start the season as a DH. After that, who knows?
Good. Very good, Holst. Very good.
Laser, will this mean I'll be able to pitch again in the big leagues?
No way, Jose. In Miami, I'm Carolyn Burns, ESPN.
That's what got him in trouble in the first place. Still to come, we'll see how playing hoops has helped relieve gang tensions in Chicago. The New York Knicks have a new all-time leading scorer in their midst. Details in the NBA Weekend Review next.
Will your car make it through this winter? Here at Dewey Ford, all our cars and trucks go through a 28-point winter inspection checklist. All our cars will make it through the winter. Here's just a couple examples.
91 Ford Taurus GL, a great family car, only $99.91. 93 Olds 88 Royale, $18,993.
So don't take a chance. Come see us at Dewey Ford.
We treat you better, we do. Dewey Ford.
The past 3 seasons, the Iowa Hawkeyes have met the Duke Blue Devils 3 times. Always on the road, always the same result. But this year, they have to come to our house. Join ESPN and TCI for Wednesday night's national telecast of Duke versus Iowa, live from Carver Hawkeye Arena in Iowa City. The only place you can see this great matchup is on ESPN, and the only place to see ESPN is on TCI Cablevision. Tip-off is at 6:30 for Duke versus Iowa Wednesday night, exclusively on ESPN and TCI of Central Iowa.
Jim Rome's Glossary Primer, number 7, the bricks.
Yeah, massive. If you follow the hoop, definitely you will know who the bricks are. Now, if you take a shot, a ragamuffin shot, and all you hit is air, that's called a brick. It just happened to be this season no team threw more bricks than the bricks. And for those of you who don't have a clue, here's a hint. New York bricks.
Watch Rome, speak Rome, talk too. Phone in sports talk with a language all its own. Monday through Friday, 10:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2.
Let's return to the court for more college hoop scores from Saturday. Bobby Hurley completed his record-setting career at Duke. He hasn't exactly been having a fairy tale season as an NBA rookie with the Sacramento Kings, but that is of no concern now. The only thing that matters is Hurley's full recovery from a serious car accident on Sunday. Sunday afternoon, everything was flying high for Bobby Hurley as a homestanding Kings faced the Clippers, but everything came crashing to a halt Sunday night. Within sight of Arco Arena that you see in the background there, Hurley suffered critical injuries in a car accident as he was returning home. Hurley was ejected from his vehicle and suffered many injuries, including a life-threatening ruptured trachea. Hurley, who wasn't wearing a seatbelt, was found in a ditch. It looked bleak in the beginning, but his doctors say his recovery has been as amazing as his basketball career.
I think we were extremely impressed by this young man, recuperative powers, and it's been really amazing. I would say, in the base of my experience, which is probably as much as anybody has an experience in the field of trauma, that his recovery has been as dramatic as one ever sees.
Bobby Hurley's condition was certainly on everybody's mind this week. He's still in ICU, but could be released from the hospital as early as next week. Hurley's improving condition is a wonderful Christmas gift. Jack Edwards is always in such a giving mood, especially this time of the year, when he likes to moonlight as one of Santa's helpers. Jack comes bearing gifts in the NBA Week in Review.
Look under the tree. It's the NBA. Now, kids, we know it's exciting, but be careful. Don't run into each other. This collision forced Sean Kemp from the game and cost Shaquille O'Neal $5,000 and an ejection from the game, which tacked another $250 to the fine. The final score was a gift for Sonics fans. Seattle 124, Orlando 100. Kenny Anderson's presence came in twos Monday, a triple-double for the Nets in a double overtime win over the Heat. The ribbon on Anderson's performance, 32 points. But good things come in threes, especially at Christmas time. Del Curry was 6 for 9 from long range against the T-Wolves, including 5 gold rings in a row.
Del Curry is possessed! He's on fire!
Vernon Maxwell rained gifts on his Houston teammates, nailing 5 threes on his way to a team-high 25 points. The Rockets rolled 97-88. The Grinch resides in Dallas this Christmas. The Mavs lost their 17th in a row Thursday night, 103-89 to the Spurs. Nothing but coal in the stocking for youngsters Jamal Mashburn and Jimmy Jackson, who shot a combined 13 for 36. The Mavs as a team, 38% from the field. One of Chicago's Christmas wishes was granted Wednesday. Horace Grant registered 31 points, 15 boards, in a 108-98 win over the Celtics. It was the Bulls' 7th win in 8 games. Santa had the Knicks on his list with news both naughty and nice. Doc Rivers tore a ligament, did cartilage damage in his knee. He's out for the season. Rivers will have surgery later in the month. The same night, Patrick Ewing made Knick history.
Oakley drives the lane. This is off for Ewing. 12-footer. It's good. And Patrick Ewing has just become the New York Knickerbockers' all-time leading scorer.
Ewing's 14,619 points moved him past Knick legend and current radio analyst Walt Frazier. The Warriors finally got a gift in a year not worthy of much celebration. Chris Mullin returned from a hand injury and poured in 23 points in 31 minutes, leading Golden State to a 109-94 win over the Kings. Shaq led the Magic past the Suns in Phoenix 104-101. The Magic's tall tree had 36 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 blocks, including this one on Kevin Johnson in the final seconds. Said O'Neal, "I'm a shot blocker. That's no secret. Merry Christmas."
In just a bit, John Elway will sit down for a Sunday conversation. But first, something even more important than Elway tossing touchdown passes. Many young people in Chicago have a place to gather other than the violent streets to solve their differences.
Affiliated with different gangs on the same team, a strange thing happened. They found out that the guys are no different than them.
Jim was going where no man had ever gone, into the darkest jungles of Malaysia.
You find it, Jim?
Yeah.
Thought you could use a cold one.
Great. Ice cold O'Doul's. Not alcohol, and hey, only 70 calories. Just right for a true adventurer like Jim. Jim was going where no man had ever gone.
When you want the refreshing taste of beer without the alcohol, think O'Doul's. It's what beer drinkers drink when they're not drinking beer.
There's nothing more frustrating than having power 1 minute and losing it the next. So instead of buying batteries you're just going to throw away, why not try Millennium rechargeable power cells? You can use them over and over, plus their power is guaranteed for a lifetime, which can be quite an attractive feature. Millennium, the power to last a lifetime.
You can see all the NFL action every Sunday. Sit back. Let us do the work. ESPN NFL Primetime. We'll find every bone-crushing hit. Search out every key play. and mix insight from our pros into television's fastest hour of football. NFL Prime Time. Tonight at 7 Eastern, only on ESPN.
Tell you what, let's take a look at how the top 25 teams in the land fared on Saturday in women's hoops. Sport is said to be a microcosm of society. The reality is we live in a violent society, but sport can be part of the solution. In 44 cities across the country, midnight basketball leagues have been formed. In Chicago, 80 men from the ages of 17 to 26 who are affiliated with 5 different gangs put aside their differences and come together as a team. Digger Phelps has their story.
It's a scene most of white America gets to see only in the movies or on the evening news. Guns, body bags, a blood puddle left from a violent murder. This blood came from the body of a 16-year-old, gunned down last Monday in a drive-by shooting on his way home from basketball practice in one of Chicago's toughest neighborhoods, the Abla District, territory of a gang called the Disciples. In the hood, it's members only. Entering another's territory is granting license to kill. But for 2 nights a week, 16 weeks a year, a truce is called on one block in the heart of the Disciples' territory.
Hey, guard, number 32, Anthony Jackson.
The midnight basketball league hours are at 10 at night till 2 in the morning, the prime hours of the hood's criminal activities. The hope is that if natural enemies can learn to play together on the same team, they may learn to live in peace in the projects.
1, 2, 3, defense!
Once we did the things that we did and put different guys who are affiliated with different gangs on the same team, a strange thing happened. They found out that the guys are no different than them. It's strange what divides these guys out here. It's even stranger what brings them together.
What is that like when you know there's tension outside, but here there's tension to win as a team?
I just like, come on.
No tension here.
No tension here. Just come on the court and just play.
Well, really, the gym is like a church. What's outside is outside. When you come in here, hey, it's one big family.
But can that sense of family extend beyond the basketball court? Some say yes.
You got that, I guess you say that one piece that it may stop them now. You know, I don't like you, but you know, hey, we balling now. We balling, so I mean, like, nah, I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna go this way. Or if some of my friends don't like him, now y'all leave Joe or such alone. He cool, he all right. Okay, just leave him alone. So I mean, you got something that's stopping you from attacking your enemy.
So this does work.
So yeah, it works.
It's done a lot for me. It's taught me to love others, to be more towards the family oriented, towards the fellas, you know, on and off the court. You know, love my peers as people.
Yet reality pervades the league. In the locker room, a local funeral home's price listing is tacked to the bulletin board. Armed police officers are at all games and practices. Gang-related murders are on the rise in Chicago, but organizers believe that the league's auxiliary programs, such as job training workshops and its basketball programs, can open eyes and options.
There's a need for this program not only in urban America, but rural America also, because if you think the problem don't touch you, just keep saying good morning, because you'll see that crime and violence is going to touch you in some kind of way. So if you think you're in a safe haven out in the suburbs someplace, you better wake up and smell the coffee.
Sports controls America. You got game bangers like in football, basketball, so they going to throw a shield around you. So, hey, leave him alone. He's trying to do something positive. It'll open up a door. Everybody, it's like, it'll be everybody for one, dude. Everybody for one. It won't be you in this game, you in that game. We all come in the same door and leave all out the same door.
Let's go. Let's go.
Coming up next, our Sunday conversation with a comeback kid, John Elway. The Cleveland Browns know firsthand Elway's comeback capabilities.
Everyone talks about all the comebacks and all those type of things. I mean, that becomes a burden after once in a while, after every, you know, if you keep doing it and doing it and doing it, and then all of a sudden, every time you get in that situation that people expect it.
you taking their pictures with the same old film, try Fujicolor Super G. Because pictures should be nostalgic. Film shouldn't.
Why do we do this every year? Wait till the last minute to shop for the holidays.
What do we give Mom and Dad? Let's give Dad his lucky brother. Yeah, the kids are upstairs. Let's wrap the ice cream. Yeah, the ice cream.
Foot Locker. It's easy.
I'm gonna give you to Mommy.
Reebok, Fila, Nike. Oh, hon, don't look. I just found your gift.
You're my favorite fish, and I'm gonna wrap you up.
Do you have these cowboy jackets in small?
Michigan for Keith, Notre Dame for Gary.
Wrap the toaster.
You think they got us something?
Get the dog. The dog, boy, here, boy.
This holiday season, while you're shopping, we'll be dropping $5 million in the Discover Card Big Payback. Now, every time you use your card, you're automatically entered in our $5 million sweepstakes. It pays to Discover, the card with the big payback.
You could brace yourself for the onslaught of 1,000 pounds of flesh, curl up in a fetal position and repeat the word mama, or you could watch.
Sports Weekly is brought to you by Discover Card. It pays to discover, the card that pays you back. By Foot Locker, the world's most complete athletic footwear store, where it all begins. And by Millennium. We're leading the charge in rechargeables.
After leading the Broncos to 3 Super Bowls, John Elway and Dan Reeves' disagreements over how to run the offense led to owner Pat Bowlen's decision to allow Reeves' contract to expire. With Reeves living happily ever after with the Giants, the Broncos tailored their offense around Elway, who has responded with a career year. He talks with our Andrea Kramer.
May 2nd, 1983. Trade is completed. You sign here with the Broncos. Dan Reeves said, he said, quote, "This is as close to heaven as I'll ever get." What happened after that?
My goal was the same goal as Dan Reeves, and that's to win a world championship. And a lot of times, you know, instead of realizing we're working for the same goal, we ended up working against each other, and I think that caused us to clang some heads at some point in time, and therefore it, you know, it got to where it was a bad situation. But it was never where, you know, Dan and I would walk down the hall and all of a sudden start fighting. I mean, it was, you know, we just, philosophy-wise, Dan had his philosophy, and he was entitled to his philosophy. He was the head coach. He was running the show. He was successful and winning a lot of games. So, you know, maybe a lot of it came out of my frustrations. But, you know, then again, I wasn't the only guy that was, you know, clanging heads. Mine was the one publicized, but, you know, I wasn't the only one that had the problem.
Dan motivated by fear. Why didn't that work with you?
Well, I mean, heck, I was motivated. I mean, I went out and played as hard as I could play. But I think that sometimes when I went out, I felt like they weren't taking advantage of me. They weren't taking advantage of my skills. They weren't taking advantage and using me to the best of the ability of the Denver Broncos to make us world champions, which was all our goal. So I guess that was the most frustrating thing was it wasn't that I wasn't motivated or you know, didn't go out and play hard, because I busted my tail every week I went out there. I just felt like, you know, I was just like, you know, use me. I mean, that's what you pay me for. Use me and get the most out of me that you can get out of me. And that was probably the most frustrating thing, is that wasn't happening.
What about this new system is so good for you?
Well, I think that it really takes pressure off me. You know, I think that even though the responsibility has come to me that, hey, we're going to throw the football, we're going to attack, and a lot of responsibility goes to the quarterback, it's taking pressure off me in that I don't have to make big plays 4, 5, 6, 7 times in a game, go out, run around, try to make something big happen.
Do you feel much more relaxed in the pocket?
Oh, yeah, no question. I think that I feel much more relaxed going into a football game, knowing that, you know, we're going to go attack. I mean, we could talk about comebacks, and we got the video, and everyone talks about all the comebacks and all those type of things. I mean, that becomes a burden after once in a while, after every, you know, if you keep doing it and doing it and doing it, and then all of a sudden, every time you get in that situation that people expect it, and I think that it's awful nice for me, and it takes pressure off me knowing that we're going to go out and we're going to attack from the play one, and if we're in that situation, we got to go win it, but we're going to attack from play one. We're going to try to put 42 points up on the board, and we're not going to necessarily play for field position all the time and do those type things, but we're going to attack from play one. and go from there. So I feel not more relaxed in the pocket. I feel more relaxed going into a football game.
And yet, you look at a Joe Montana, and he's been running the system you're running now, and you see what he's done over his career, and you're not the slightest bit jealous?
Well, I'm not jealous. I'm a little envious. There's no question. I'm a little bit envious, but I'm also going to say that sure, I'd love to switch spots with him. Here's a guy that's won 4 Super Bowls and been the MVP a bunch of times. But I'm just thankful now that I got the opportunity. I mean, there's a lot of guys that go through their careers that never get the opportunity. And I mean, I'm just grateful now that I do have the opportunity. And I'm excited about this team. I'm excited about the organization and what we've got going. I think the nucleus that we've got is a great nucleus, and I think that we've got an owner that really wants to win a Super Bowl.
Did you ever look at the film of any of your Super Bowls?
Never seen one other than what's on TV when they show a highlight or something like that. I've never seen the film of the other Super Bowls. I'm saving that for the one we win.
Why? You don't think you can learn anything from the losses?
They hurt too bad. I think you don't want to. When you go to a Super Bowl, you sit there and you're so excited about being there, and you want to win so bad because you want that feeling to be world champ. And I'm sure, as great a feeling it is to be a world champ, it's just as bad. It's such a bad feeling, you know, coming in second that it's a memory you don't want to go back and live.
Keep in mind, I'll be back in 30 minutes with the Sunday morning edition of SportsCenter. Chris Berman will be along with news and notes from the NFL. That and a great deal more at 11:30 on SportsCenter. Right after Dick Schaff and the Sports Reporters is coming up next. The Sunday Sports Day rolls on.